If there's somebody out there, please let me know. If you're the one who complained, if you're the one person that complained to the dev team that it's too easy to throw alley-oops on the AI, please let me know who you are. I'm sure we would love to hear from you. I think it's more so a battle between the devs and the higher ups within their company, and we're kind of getting the short end of the stick. Hey, what's up, YouTube? You already know I'm AllCity with AllCityLiveTV.com, and thank you for tuning in. What do you guys think about 2K21 on Next Gen? Brutal Sim just recently released a survey on his channel, and the survey got about 3,000 plus votes, and it was rated from 1 to 5, 1 being completely trash with some in-betweens, and then 5 being the greatest game with no fixes are needed. It's just an absolute great experience. And the overwhelming majority was that the game was average at best, but it was nothing special. That was the overwhelming majority, about 32% of the 3,000 votes. And they got me to thinking, man, because my experience this year on 2K has been just confusing. One day you feel good, but most of the time my experience on 2K21 for Next Gen hasn't been that enjoyable. I like the idea of creating a build and then putting it to work, and I love doing that with you guys, the community, doing it on live stream as well, to kind of figure out if we can kind of crack the code for 2K. And that's how it feels. It feels like the Da Vinci Code, and you're just out there trying to crack it. But as you're cracking the code, you got the development team constantly making changes and changing the combination or whatnot. That's how it feels. That's how it's felt for the longest time. And I somewhat got fed up. I felt kind of just done with this idea of this ever so changing game that doesn't necessarily work in the gamer's favor. So I got to thinking, whose fault is this? One side of me likes to believe that the development team has their hands tied. When I think of a multi-billion-dollar company and this, this corporate-oriented type of company that got to keep their investors happy, I look at the development team and I kind of sympathize, because I think that their hands are somewhat tied and they're not able to be as creative as they would like or make the game that they would like to make. I don't know what you guys necessarily think about that idea, but you let me know in the comment section below, because the way I see it is that if the development team had pure creativity, if they just had full control of the game, full control, and they could just unleash their creativity on the game, what type of game would we have? And knowing business and understanding how it works, I gotta believe that there's higher ups that say we need this to happen in the game, because they see these P&Ls and they start seeing their profits and they start gaining, everything is just so profit based, which is why we have seen such a heavy increase in microtransactions, right? And I start thinking man, what does that do to a development team? Because if one little minor adjustment from the development team decreases those microtransactions, then they're gonna get a ton of heat from the higher ups coming down on them. This is what I would like to believe. I don't know if that's the case. I'm gonna tell you guys what makes me think otherwise. And this has to do with when you're in the rec center and how you get those AIs, and how the AIs could guard everything. The AIs are just super goated. You can have the tiniest guard AI out rebound the 7-3 center. They're just always at the right place at the right time. Their back turned, eyes behind their head. They reach, they jump up 20 feet in the air to stop an alley-oop. And I'm saying this because I've been here. I've been playing 2K for years, and I was here when, players were able to exploit the AI. Do you guys remember when, you had to take 25 corner 3-point shots or something like that to get the corner specialist badge? Do you guys remember how easy it was to kind of exploit the AI? The AI was not necessarily a challenge, and during that time, the community did want the AI to be increased as far as their awareness and how the AI plays. When you watch the AI operate, you could kind of say that that's the developer putting themselves into the game. So like however the AI operates is a direct representation of how the developer thinks that like somebody should play basketball. So when you get this AI with his back turned and you throw an alley-oop and he just lunges 20 feet in the air to intercept the pass, or he gets a tremendous, insane chase down block on you, like everybody is just super goated. All AIs are super goated. I think it's the developers saying enough is enough. Stop talking poorly about me because look at how my AI plays. I don't know, man. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. I know you guys have experienced these AIs with these tremendous defensive plays, but they just can't guard somebody at the 3-point line, which is just insane to me. They could guard everything else, but they eliminate everything else, but you just can't guard them at the 3-point line. One step back and just shoot in the AI's face. Because I was here when we used to just exploit the AI. It wasn't necessarily challenging. Also, something to consider, when you're in the rec center and you got people that quit out, the AI should not be playing better defense than the actual player at hand. Because this allows these, like, it'd be one player left in the rec center. Well, so we'll go up against a team. We'll start up a rec game. We'll go up against a team. And that one, like, the 4 people will quit out on the other team, on the opposing team. And that one person will stay in because he has the AI's defense to help him out. And I constantly get these messages like, yeah, I won with 4 AIs. The AIs are like, how do you say, rep blockers. That's how the AIs feel. They just block rep. You can't barely throw alley-oops. You can't throw a pass near them because they just ninja matrix intercept the pass. It's just, of course, it's highly possible that you could win with 4 AIs. It's not like it's just not unreal. The AIs are just programmed in a way that they limit the amount of rep that the opponent. So in other words, it feels like we get penalized when playing against AIs. And I think the development team set it up that way, and they're actually taking pride in that. But that is this underhanded approach that I don't think the higher ups are acknowledging in a certain way. The higher ups don't get to see. So this is where the development team they kind of slyly just take their shots and digs at the 2K community. Like, yeah, you wanted to talk about us in previous versions of 2K and how the AI is dumb. Well, here, take this. Because I was here, I was playing, grinding the game when it was easy to rep up against AIs. And I'm not saying it's super difficult. I'm not saying that. They just block rep, and it just becomes a nuisance, and it's annoying. It's not a fun and enjoyable experience. And I think the devs know this to be true, and they don't address it because it's not on the higher ups radar. Like, the higher ups cannot say, this is the reason why we're not getting microtransactions. This is the reason why that guy stopped playing, or this guy is no longer playing the game. It's little things like this, the battle between the devs and the higher ups that are tying their hands for creativity. Now, I can't say that's the case. I can't say that's what's happening. Maybe the dev team does have full creativity and they could just unleash it, but they just doing a real poor job at doing that. And that's not to say that I don't appreciate this concept of having this stadium or like this event center in the middle of the city where we could have these changing lights and these changing events at the event center. I appreciate that level of creativity, but when my experience on the game has dwindled tremendously from what I used to feel in previous versions of 2K, and to consider that we're in a next generation gaming, it just doesn't feel like next gen gaming. I think the 2K community is just an absolutely awesome community, one that's forgiving, one that's just patient, one that is just like long-suffering. We just out here and we continue to play the game, promote the game, get on, try and have an enjoyable experience, create new builds, and not to mention, on top of all of that, we give our money to 2K. We just hand it over to them in hopes that it's going to be a better game, in hopes that we could crack the code and maybe we'll have an enjoyable experience. Maybe we'll have fun playing the game if we just kind of crack the code, create the right build, get the right badges together, get the right attributes together. You know how you get that feeling? I'm a person that guides myself off energy and intuition, and a lot to do with my experience and just, you know, being able to stay closely connected with my history so that I don't allow history to repeat itself. But when it comes to 2K, I've allowed history to repeat itself time and time again. And it just came to a point where I had to take a stand for myself, my sanity, you know, and say, hey, this is not right. What's happening is not right. And I think if you guys could take this into consideration for just a second, man, really let this sink in. I think it's more so a battle between the devs and the higher ups within their company, and we're kind of getting the short end of the stick. That's how it kind of feels, where, you know, the devs feel underappreciated by the community and by the higher ups. Introduce these little things into the game like an AI that eliminates alley-oops. I don't think anybody in their right mind said to the dev team or complained to the dev team that it's too easy to throw alley-oops on your AIs. If there's somebody out there, please let me know. If you're the one who complained, if you're the one person that complained to the dev team that it's too easy to throw alley-oops on the AI, please let me know who you are. I'm sure we would love to hear from you, because the AI's defense has become ridiculous out there. Just eliminating rep opportunities when we're not supposed to be penalized. If a team quits, we are not supposed to be penalized. Why does the gamer? So I try to wrap my mind around this, and I say, let me step into the dev's shoes. If it's my goal to make the gamer base, like the player base, happy, why would I create new code to eliminate alley-oops when alley-oops, and that's just one thing I'm pointing out, but to eliminate somebody from feeling like boosting their endorphins when they score, or when they get an alley-oop pass, or when they complete an alley-oop, or when they dunk the basket, when they dunk the basketball. It's just like, what would possess me as a developer to minimize those opportunities for the player, especially this year, especially on 2K21 for next gen, where I mean no disrespect to any player who's really enjoying themselves, but the way it feels for me, especially a veteran, one who's become a legend in 2K20, one who's been playing the game and increased a high amount of rep in almost every single release on the game, super ton of experience. To watch the way the game has evolved, it looks like they're actually minimizing the amount of enjoyment for the player base, and it feels like the player base is actually being targeted out there. And I can't understand for the life of me why, when the game used to be completely fun. It was minor things that you'll say, hey man, this could be fixed here, this could be fixed there, and hoping that they will fix it, but not even thinking for a second that we will go into next generation of gaming and get this experience that we have in front of us. It just has trouble maintaining consistency. And that's been my ongoing experience with 2K. And I think we're just stuck in the middle as a player base, because if I put myself in the developer's shoes, I can't see myself minimizing any level of fun. My priority would be make it fun for the player base. And that's because as a developer, I would more than likely be a gamer first. If I make a basketball game, I'd have to have some idea of how basketball is played. For instance, one in particular that comes into my mind is I played basketball for years. I grew up playing basketball in New York City, played for multiple teams throughout the summer leagues, and just it was just a fun experience playing basketball growing up. One of the main things that they teach us growing up is when you grab a board, your hands are up or either to your chest, but your elbows are out. Elbows are out, and you motion. You feel what I'm saying? It's like the least time to get stripped. It's one of the rare few times where someone would get stripped after they grab a rebound. They come down with the ball is in the center here or up high here, and they motioning with elbows out to clear everybody away from them. There's like a known practice in basketball, but for 2K, they think, and they actually encourage you guys, the player base, to spam the person coming down with the rebound. That's the best opportunity for you to get a steal out there. Now, if I was a coach coaching these players, I'd be pissed off at the person spamming, because we're beat in the head. When you play real basketball, IRL basketball, you're beat in the head to get back on defense. If you don't get your behind back on defense, you might find yourself on the bench. So why are you there spamming? Because 2K actually, Mike Wang actually encouraged you that after a person grabs the rebound, that's the best time for you to spam. And this is what I mean by, if I'm a developer, I would probably want to learn those intricate details about the game, so that way it doesn't come across as odd to a person who's playing the game. Just don't add up. Either you don't know basketball, you're stuck with your hands tied, limited for creativity, you're angry at the community for like some of the shots that the community, the 2K community is highly opinionated, and we shouldn't be penalized for being highly opinionated, because we promote the game endlessly. From content creators to social people who are just on social media, we're constantly, because we care about basketball. It's the only viable basketball option out there. But we cannot say that the game is absolute trash. We have nothing to compare it to. So let me know what you guys think about this video. I know it was somewhat of a long rant. Shout out to everybody who's stuck around for the entire video. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate how we're growing within this community and you guys hearing me out. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section about whether or not the developers' hands are tied, and like they gotta appease the higher ups, and they're really working towards like making the investors happy over the player base, or do you think that the developers are just failing all around and they have endless and limitless creativity, but they're just dropping the ball in how they approach 2K? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, please consider dropping a like on the video, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we intend to have a ton of next gen content coming your way. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Easy, y'all.